Hello, welcome to my channel. I have two small journals that I have created that I would like to introduce you to. This is Celine and this is Marion, and I have made them out of old French book covers, and I have actually recreated a new larger spine. So I'm going to show you the cover and do a flip through. I created these with the intention of them being writing journals. They are quite delicate, which is something that I tend to make my journals fairly robust, but I have purposefully stepped back out of my comfort zone. I've used glue instead of lots and lots of stitching. I've used delicate pages in these journals. They are real dames. So that's just something to be aware of, and I have really restrained myself from decorating inside the journals, but as you can see, I've gone quite crazy decorating the outside, but I will explain all of that as I show you each journal. We will start with Celine, so I'll just put Marion to the side. She probably won't like that, but that's okay. I'll make it up to her later. Okay, so old French book covers. Same but different. So this is a different cover, but it has the same design. And I was originally only going to put one fussy cut butterfly, but why not go all the way? And this is a little applique. There's a lot of glitz on the outside of these journals. I have stuck some of this really beautiful shimmery tulle lace and a little trim, gold sort of trim at the bottom there. You can see 4 signatures, so quite a wide spine. And on the back, I've wrapped that lace all the way around. And this is a piece of velvet. Now, the old book cover is underneath the velvet. So what I did to make the journal is I've used one piece of velvet and I have adhered it to the back cover of the book. I have adhered it to the separate spine, and then I have taken it underneath the front cover and adhered it to the front cover of the journal. So the one piece of velvet actually goes all the way around the journal. This dark sort of color under here is actually a piece of sari silk that I've used to wrap around so that you couldn't see the edge of the front cover, because that was exposed because the velvet goes underneath it. And then I have layered the lace on top. So that is a beautiful piece of velvet that you can sort of see encompassing the journal. And then inside there are a couple of pieces of handmade ephemera, and I've just made them quite simply, but the rest of the ephemera in the journal is original antique ephemera, and I've put in as much as I can with the sort of color theme. So inside here, this is a gorgeous old French, I think it's like a birthday wishes card. It says loving wishes, but I just adored the heart shape, and this is a velvet flower applique that I have stuck there as well, and I've made this into a pocket. So that's one of the tags that I've made very simply. It's tea-stained luggage tag with a fussy cut flower and a fussy cut butterfly stuck to the front with some sari silk at the top, and I just thought simple but stunning. And this is actually an advertisement or advertising card from the United States, and I just love the pansy on that. It does have a blank back, so you can journal on it. I've just tucked that in there because when you open a journal, you want some impact. This is a beautiful piece of vintage wallpaper and a fussy cut butterfly stuck on there. On the spine inside, just to sort of reinforce the connection, so it's not just the velvet that's holding the whole thing together. So you can see the back of the velvet becomes the inside of the front cover. I've also used some card, light cream card, and some lace as well. So that should be enough to keep the journal together. Okay, and this is Celine. So I have used a woman who I felt had the right sort of pose or repose for this journal. This is a hand-dyed applique at the bottom here, and a little piece of that tulle lace, that shimmery tulle lace, and I have just pinned her in there. And on the other side, I have actually used the old spine of the book, and I've turned it into a bookmark just with a piece of old French document. I loved the ink blots. So that's on the back. It's flexible but strong enough. And this is the little beaded tassel at the top. So it sort of lays over the top of the journal. So you can use it as a bookmark, or you can use it as just a decoration there. So that I thought was a fun way of using the whole book and not wasting that gorgeous old spine. So I've just pinned that in there, but it can obviously be moved around the rest of the journal. I couldn't not do some ruffles, so there's some of that beautiful variegated sari silk ruffle there. That's an old book page, old ledger. This is an old French fashion journal, tea-stained paper, ledger. This is a book page from a book that was gifted to me by a friend, Pamela, and I've got the little tuck spots. So there's little tuck spots and pockets throughout the journal. You can take them off, or you can stick them down and use them as a place to store ephemera of your own. So that's the first signature. The second signature, a fussy cut butterfly on an old French receipt from 1928. And this is an old page from a French diary from the 1908, I think it might be. And a beaded trim down the edge of this tea-stained page. There's some more of that French fashion magazine. So the idea is you have sort of pages to journal on and pages to maybe put some collaging or a photo, and you've sort of got, you use what's on the page as a bit of a frame. Here I've just made a little decorated, they actually look like the golden snitch on Harry Potter, the little decorated Tim Holtz tiny attacher things, paper clips. Sorry, an extended explanation there. And this is a really gorgeous French advertisement for fabric. I've actually used that in the French purple boho kit, that young girl with the flowers. And this is an old book page that has been tea stained, and it's a little envelope, so you can put something, sort of a little secret in there. And on this side I have just fussy cut some flowers and a butterfly and stuck those on, and then I went around the edge to make it look like it had been sewn, but that's obviously been drawn on just as a little border. And then on the back, so there is a little tuck spot there, but on the back I have actually put an old French postcard. It doesn't have a date on it, but it has lovely writing. It's light enough though, if you turned it in that direction, that you could easily journal on that. So I'll just stick that back there with a little golden snitch. 1920s ledger. and old music paper, and that's the other side of that ledger, and another postcard. This one is completely blank on the back, so that would be a lovely journaling card, and I've just tucked that in there. 1902, that French journal's from. So that's the other side of that receipt. And then going into the third signature, another fussy cut butterfly on some beautiful old music paper. This is, I think, from the 40s, 1939, this French ledger, and I've used it in both journals. A silk tea-stained ruffle there, and one of those beautiful antique leaves, and the color just matched the journal perfectly, so there's one of those on each of the journals. This is actually a pocket here, so I have sewn that down. This is an old French embroidery magazine, and I loved the old masking tape or sticky tape stain at the top there. This is another old ledger. This is quite a grungy one, and another music page. So you can see there's lots of space for journaling. There'd be over 100 pages, I think, to journal on. This is another card, a little snitch at the top again. This is another card that I've tea stained and just fussy cut a flower and a butterfly with some sari silk. And then I had some of that beaded trim left over, so I've stitched that down the bottom there. But journaling space on the back, and that's a little tuck spot there. So I really liked how these sort of simple tags turned out. You can actually have that sort of hanging out the bottom too if you put it down a little bit lower. This is actually from the Netherlands, this postcard, and again, perfect colours for this journal. I cannot make out the date, but again, not a lot of writing, so you can turn it that way and use it to journal on. You could also cut that out and turn it into a pocket if you wanted to, so there's quite a bit of flexibility in the ephemera. And this is the last signature, so 2 fussy cut butterflies on some beautiful old music paper, and some more ledger, and a beautiful old French legal document, and I've just turned that into little tuck spots, and another little golden snitch or tea stain snitch, and that is a advertisement or advertising card for sewing machines, and that is from Chicago. And I thought that was wonderful, the artist's palette. So that and that made it into this journal because of the purples. And these are marguerites, or which is daisy in French, and there's a little bit of information on the back there. That's fun to read and translate. And the colours were just perfect. And another piece of that French embroidery magazine, another ruffle there at the back, and that beautiful French document. And on the back here, I was going to make that into a tuck spot, but I just wanted to stick it down because I felt that it looked more luxurious that way, and it was quite heavy, so I didn't want it to be too floppy. I do apologise, the sun's just decided to come out from behind a rather large cloud, so the light has changed for the journal, but that is the cover opened out. And I had a lot of fun sort of working out how to use the velvet to wrap all the way around. So that is Celine, and this is Marion. And I got the idea of dames from the cover of this particular old French book. So an applique there, and a velvet pansy And this bit of lace I've actually wrapped around to make a pocket underneath, so I thought that was a little bit tricky. So it is stuck onto the cover here, but it does wrap around. You'll see that in a minute. I've used this glitzy bit of trim just so that you don't see the exposed side of that front cover, because again I've wrapped the velvet around and underneath the front, and I've just layered some green velvet under there. That's a little applique, hand-dyed applique, and this is a piece of that lace, and I've just taken it across the back and onto the spine. And these are 2 more appliques. Now, the reason for all of these is because it was my first experience with velvet and glue. And you must use a lot, but a small amount. Oh, that doesn't make sense. You need to use a lot of glue. I like to make sure things are going to stay stuck. But you can't have big blobs in the one place. And that is what I learned, because I made Marion first. But I feel that I recovered well from that experience with all the bits and pieces on the cover there. So that's just a little handy hint. Just be careful if you are gluing velvet to make sure you spread the glue out so there's no big blobs. So inside Marion, you can see the velvet on the back there. I've actually used the old book page as part of the spine. And this is that piece of lace that I've wrapped around. And I've just used glue, permanent glue, to make that into a pocket. And I thought that was quite clever. And on here, that's the velvet floral applique. And in the pocket, I have one of those tags, and this is a really, it says Choice Groceries and Provisions. So it is an advertisement from the United States. And I just loved the colours on that card, especially opening the journal. This is an old book cover or dust cover from a book my friend Pamela gifted to me. And Pamela is German and lives in Germany. So the book was an old German floral book or book of flowers. And I've just fussy cut and stuck a butterfly there. So this is Marion, and she's on the other side. That can actually, that's the other part of the dust cover of the book, so that can be made into a tuck spot. But this is Marion. Marion is a dancer. She loves to dance. Celine prefers to watch. So I just adore this. It's a one of those postcards where they added colour after they took the black and white photograph, but I had to add a little bit of bling. There is some gold detailing on this postcard, but it has patinaed with age, and that is the back of the postcard there. And this is the old spine of the book that I have made into a little bookmark, and they are the beads at the top, because the velvet looks like it's the same color, but this one is actually slightly more purple, and Celine's velvet is slightly more maroon, so, or mauve. So I will group those together. Marion probably doesn't like to be behind the bookmark, but just for the sake of the flip through, she will deal with that. And again, some sari silk there. I've used the same sort of pages in this journal, so little fussy cut butterfly. So I will just be a little bit quicker with this flip through, but I will still do a flip through so you can have a look. And that's the other, that's the end of the first signature. And another fussy cut butterfly. That's the beautiful antique glass leaf as a charm there. And this, love this daisy dragonfly girl femme fatale, and that is an old French advertisement there for fabric, I think for children, because it's got infants. Yeah, and very sort of, it does have an old gold background to it, so I felt that it went perfectly in this journal. And on this side, this is an old postcard, and it does actually have a gold look to the horseshoe there, but the blossoms are gorgeous on that as well. And I think that's from 1932, Mademoiselle Elizabeth. I just love reading the back of old postcards. And continuing through, so that's that old ledger. So beautiful old pages, thick pages, thin pages, robust pages, delicate pages. There's a real sort of mix in here. Another little fussy cut butterfly and a tuck spot there. And this is some of that beautiful wallpaper again with a butterfly and that beaded trim. And I've used sort of different music paper as well, because, you know, using different ledger, different music paper. And this is the ephemera for here. So that's the cover of an old embroidery album, and I used that in my purple boho kit as well, and that's the little envelope there. I haven't put anything in there because it's something that the person who purchases the journal can move into. Sorry to put my arm across there like that. I love the writing on the back of this postcard. It is British, I think from 1910. Mrs. B. Davis from 30 Calver Road, Redland, Bristol. Wishing you many happy returns of the day, Lucy. And I just love it. I actually really love the back of that. But how sweet is the front there? It's a birthday postcard. And I just thought it looked adorable. So that is in the journal Marion. And butterflies everywhere, because I love butterflies, and I've gotten right into fussy cutting. And anyone who's watched my journals from way back will laugh, because I had a big aversion to that and to collaging. Collaging still is a little tricky, but I'm getting there. So all these gorgeous pages to write on. There's that fussy cut flower with the butterfly and the trim at the bottom. I won't bother taking that off. And this one, beautiful pansies. I used to grow pansies in my little fairy garden when I was younger. And Johnny jump ups. And I love the writing on the back of this, but of course you can actually cover that up with a piece of your own ephemera or some tea stained paper. But their handwriting was just so beautiful in those days. I guess maybe they had more time to consider what they're writing and how. I don't know. I think sometimes we think we're more rushed than we really are. A ruffle there and some more pages. That can be a little tuck spot. And in the back here, I have used, I'll have to just stick that down because it's quite delicate. I've used a couple of pages were left on the inside of this book, so I've just put that on the back cover there, and that's another beautiful postcard. Little violets, my Omar's favourite flower, from 1909. And I think you could easily sort of write over the top of that. And the original stamp is there. So that's a beautiful postcard. And that was also in my purple boho kit. That's some of the lace there because I don't like to have any leftover bits and pieces, and some of that beautiful, it's sort of a greeny gold and olivey gold coloured lace, but I just loved that it sort of worked in with the colours of this journal, which you can conveniently see splayed out here. So that is Marion, so that is her cover there. And some sari silk bits. I try and sort of use silk more than sari silk because it doesn't fray as much, but I finally got some of that beautiful variegated sari silk, and I do like it. I do. Okay, so they are the dames, and I hope you have enjoyed watching. And yeah, if you do have a piece of velvet, because it is fairly strong as a fabric, you can use it to create a journal cover and use an old book. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.